Welcome back to the Azure Terraformer. Last time we set up the OpenAI service using the AZ API provider. Today we're going to use the AzureRM provider because we found out that there actually is an OpenAI resource that we could use. So without further ado, let's get going. So I'm going to start off cruising the documentation of the AzureRM. The resource in question is the Cognitive account. So we have AzureRM Cognitive account. And here we go. So I already have a resource group set up in East US, and I've got a little name going on here, and I'm using the Azure API resource to declare this thing. But what I want to do is I want to get rid of this resource, and I want to actually use the resource block. We'll call this Open API. Oh, I'm sorry, OpenAI. I keep calling it API. Now the kind is going to be OpenAI, and then we don't necessarily need tags, and the SKU name is going to be S0. The resource group is going to be main. And yeah, that should do it. So let me check my providers. I don't need the Azure API anymore, and I'm just going to use the AzureRM. The latest version 3.55.
A few moments later.
Okay, so here we go. It's been deployed. Let's go check it out. Here it is. This is the thing. So we have the same old stuff, explore, develop, deploy. We have no models deployed. If we go into explore, this brings up the OpenAI suite, and we can go create a new deployment. There's no deployments currently, so we can select a model, and it's got a bunch of different models here. ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, Curie, DaVinci, etc. But let's go check and see if we can deploy this using Terraform. So let me go back to the provider documentation, and sure enough, we have this Azure Cognitive deployment right down here. And let's just grab this resource and drop it into our code base. And so down here, I'm just going to throw this in here. We'll call this ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, and we'll give it this name, ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. Very creative name there. OpenAI is our cognitive account that we're using. We need to change this code and probably the version. So let's go back and see what our options are. So it looks like GPT-3.5, I can copy pasta this, and then the model version is 0301. So let's try that. So I'm gonna paste this in, and then 0301. And then scale, let's go look at that in the documentation, see what we should do with that. There is a scale block. The type has a possible value of standard, so there's really nothing to change there. So let's go try and deploy this deployment and see what happens.
A few moments later.
Okay, the deployment's done. Let's go check it out in the portal. And if we hit refresh, so there's our ChatGPT 3.5 deployment. Now if we go into chat, we should be able to use this thing. Now last time what I showed you is just changing the system message to make an assistant that helps people solve math problems. What if we do something a little different today? What if I just say, pretend to be Elon Musk. Never drop your character when answering questions. So I'm giving the model instructions here to pretend to be a famous person, which it should have a lot of information about Elon, right? And he's kind of a famous dude even by 2021 standards, right? So what is your name? CEO, greetings. I like that response. I'm Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX and Tesla. Nice to meet you. When were you born? June 28th, 1971. How many days after April 20th were you born? I was born 69 days after April 20th. That's amazing. And such a coincidence. Don't you think? Who places high value on science and engineering, I believe that coincidences are simply random occurrences. Nonetheless, it is a curious coincidence. Very cool. So it's kind of fun. You know, it's almost like going to those Renaissance festivals where you've got real humans that are play acting a particular character, whether it's a famous character or just a kind of a common person that just lived during the era. You know, it's like you can have this chat. You can instruct this chatbot to play a role, and it can use public information. So it kind of has to be a famous person, unless we tell it pretend you're a plebe, living in pre-industrial Russia or something like that. And it might get creative. Who knows? But we could do things like Abraham Lincoln and things like that. This seems like a pretty cool use case for educational software, where maybe kids want to interact with famous people in a computer game or something like that. But it seems like a pretty simple use case that would be pretty fun. Kind of like those chess bots where they play like a certain famous grandmaster or whatnot. You could have famous person chatbots that basically replicate who that person is and can tell you historical facts about that person. If there's memoirs available, maybe it can actually share their thoughts or feelings that were written down within those memoirs, right? To make it a little bit more realistic, like you're talking to a real person. That's it. So we deployed a Cosmos DB account using Terraform. We deployed a language model using Terraform, all using the AzureRM provider, not using Azure AP. The Azure AZ API provider, which is kind of that one size fits all, does everything provider, day zero support provider. The syntax is a lot smaller than the Azure AZ API provider, and it's a little simpler. So maybe in the next video, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take the ARM template, the AZ API Terraform code, and then the AzureRM Terraform code, compare and contrast side by side so we can see what the differences are in each of these approaches, and you decide which is the more maintainable code to use. So if you like this video, please smash that like button. If you're new to my channel, I'm doing everything about Azure and Terraform. We've been playing around with the Open AI service, which I recently got access to. So going to be continuing to kind of explore this service, what you can do with it. I'm no AI expert, don't pretend to be one. I'm just like you, just trying to learn more about Open AI and play around with it and see what cool stuff I can do with it. So hope you enjoyed that. If you do, smash the like button. If you want to see more of this content about Open AI, please smash like. It'll help me understand what you guys want to see more about, or if you have any other thoughts or ideas about scenarios that I could tackle on this channel, please let me know. I always love getting feedback. So that's it for me for today. This is the Azure Terraformer signing off.